Center more now on our breaking news from the NFL. Aaron Rodgers says he is done after this year, after deciding to return for a 22nd season and second with the Steelers. He met with the media today and explained how he made the decision to come back one last time.
Yeah, there was some doubt for sure, but I had good conversations with Mike going back to when he was hired, and yeah, it's nice to come back. I mean, it felt different than last year because I knew some of the guys and some of the people that work here and stuff, so it felt good coming in.
You know, everybody was extremely excited when the decision became official. So I think that speaks for itself and speaks volumes of what he's established just in his short time here with his decision. It's there was a lot of conversation that went on, particularly the last 5 or 6 weeks, and but being here for OTAs is it's, in my view, is what I was looking for and what he was looking for, and we'll get the work done that we need to get done.
Aaron, do you believe this could be your last year? Do you even think of that right now?
Yes. This is it, yeah.
No hesitation. Steelers reporter Brooke Pryor joining us now live from Pittsburgh. Brooke, you were in the room there as Aaron Rodgers said this would be his last season. What more can you tell us?
Well, Jay, last year was almost his last year in Pittsburgh because he told me that after Mike Tomlin walked away after that wild card loss, that he thought that was it for him in Pittsburgh. But once Mike McCarthy got hired, he said that opened his mind up to the idea of returning to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said that it's felt really full circle now to have Mike McCarthy back in the building. And the fact that Mike McCarthy is here, well, that's partly a testament to Aaron Rodgers, because Rodgers said that he suggested McCarthy as an outside candidate to Omar Khan at the end of last season, because he said, look, the way the league's trending right now, if you're friends with Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan, any of those guys, you get head coach looks, but maybe we should consider an outside perspective. And that's when Mike McCarthy became involved in the conversation to be the Steelers head coach. Now, he said, Rodgers said that 10 a.m. Monday morning, he's in that meeting and it felt surreal. He felt like he was a 22-year-old kid again back in 2006, listening to Mike McCarthy's first meeting in Green Bay.
What's been the immediate reaction there as this news of this last season gets out?
I think it's expected. I mean, with Aaron Rodgers, it's never over until it's over. And so probably until we hear him say the words, I'm retired at the end of last season, that's when we'll all feel comfortable saying that he really is done, because Rodgers has kind of teased for the last couple of years that he was going to be done. But I think that this is the expectation. He's 42 years old. He'll be 43 in December. But he talked about with this team, he felt like they added some really good pieces, and they were so close a season ago when he talked about the importance of drafting that tackle in the first round and then adding a receiver that can play in the slot and outside in Alabama's Jeremy Bernard, that being a huge addition to this team. He also said he was really excited about Michael Pittman being added to this team. So I think that with Rodgers, yes, no one is super surprised that he said that it's his last year, but again, we'll believe it when we see it, when he's not here this time a year from now or in training camp a year from now.
All right, the team was out there practicing today. What did you see from Mr. Rodgers?
Well, he looks like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we saw him out on the field. They were warming up in a downpour, doing a team stretch before they moved inside here to this indoor facility. And he did the same thing that he did on Monday. He had some handoffs. He was still QB1. He was still throwing the ball deep. And that's one thing that Coach Mike McCarthy noted in his presser when he was asked, like, look, does Aaron Rodgers still look like Aaron Rodgers? And he said, Aaron made it a point on day one to show that he still has that arm strength. We saw him hit a couple deep passes to DK Metcalf both on Monday and today. He's picked up right where he's left off, even though he is no longer that 22-year-old that Mike McCarthy first got to know in Green Bay.
All right, Pittsburgh opening its season at home against the Falcons, a season that Aaron Rodgers says will be his last. Brooke Pryor, thank you much. Rodgers will retire as one of the all-time greats. He ranks top 5 in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and completions over his very home.
Deshaun Watson is back and taking QB1 reps. He has not taken an in-game snap in nearly 600 days. Obviously in the mix to start here. Cleveland 3 different starting QBs last season. Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, a combined 4-9 as rookies. Taylon Green, he was a 6th round pick this year, because why not have 4 in the room? Jeff, what are you hearing about how they're going to handle this QB room in Cleveland?
Well, first, you have to start with the fact that Todd Monken is a new head coach there, essentially giving the closest thing to a clean slate to Deshaun Watson. So he does at times feel like he is going to be in pole position to be that day one starter. But we still can also look back to OTAs last month, and he was splitting first team reps with Shedeur Sanders. Very curious to see how that plays out in the coming days. But again, I think going into training camp, the biggest thing we can say is that Watson is healthy after not playing since October 2024. And he also comes in with a new head coach who has been very vocal about the fact he's not going to evaluate the tape that he's seen with the Browns in recent years, but rather he's going to consider this a blank slate and give Deshaun Watson the chance to start.
So crazy to think, too, that Watson is extension eligible after this season. I mean, what if he comes in and has a great season? But Mina, listen, whoever is at quarterback, what are your expectations for this offense that was the least efficient in the NFL last year?
Well, I think that the Browns did a lot of things to improve the situation that any of these quarterbacks walk into. I think this could be one of the most improved offensive lines in football this season, which wouldn't be hard given all of the injuries and inconsistency they had last season. But I think they added quite a few versatile pieces, players who can play multiple positions, both in free agency and the draft. And then this receiver group as well should be dramatically improved. As you guys know, I love Casey Concepcion, who they drafted. Denzel Boston out of Washington fits so well with them. And then suddenly there's less pressure on Jerry Jeudy. Harold Fant Jr., the tight end they drafted last year, already looks like a star. But, for the quarterback, if it is Shedeur Sanders, who for my money is probably still the leader in the clubhouse, we'll see. None of that will matter if he can't play faster. Last season, when he threw the ball in rhythm, he actually wasn't that bad. In fact, you see here, 2.5 seconds to 3, that's in rhythm. He had a QBR of 64, which is below average, but it's definitely sufficient. And then when he held onto the football and it was over 3 seconds, QBR of 4, which is surprisingly near the bottom of the NFL. And the problem is he had the longest time to throw of any quarterback in football last season. So he has to play faster for this to work. But I do think if he is the starter, will be in a significantly better situation than last season.
Okay, that's good. Let's look on the other side of the ball. And Peter, apparently you win the big prize today. You get to talk about everybody who's not there. Myles Garrett isn't there. Defensive Player of the Year, got a new contract last season. Your thoughts on that?
It's interesting. So the Cavs play the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, game 1. I'm scrolling Twitter. I see 92.3 The Fan. I see my guys Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin. And what are they talking about? They're talking about Myles Garrett and the fact that he's not there. And their point was, this is not a story. Let's not make a story out of this. This is what he did last year until June 9th when it's mandatory. Why are we even talking about this? I think it could be a story. New head coach, new defensive coordinator, new fresh blood. Maybe it's Deshaun Watson playing at quarterback for the first time in 4 years. Why isn't it a story that their star player and the best player for the franchise in the last nearly 2 decades, maybe since Joe Thomas, wasn't there at OTAs? Could he have shown up? Look, I know it's going to be nearly impossible to get us riled up and ready to go about doing Myles Garrett trade talk in May after we went through all the free agency and all of the draft. But it all goes away if Myles Garrett shows up with a happy face.
Yeah,
and
maybe he's just not seeing it right now.
Hannah,
yeah,
until he's there, that still looms. And I think it's fair to talk about that. Hey, Myles Garrett, not at camp.
Yeah, record 23 sacks last year, 6th highest paid defensive player in the league. But who